Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to Daily Current Affairs session. So these are the articles that we are going to cover today. We have a very good amount of data as well as conceptual things to understand. So it will be a little bit interesting session as well. So try to understand and remember the things when we are discussing those things. So first article is related to the solar power rankings around the world. So there was a report. Of course, we are going to discuss in detail about India's contribution to the solar energy as well. So those facts are very important. So this is part of environment. Next, urban heat islands. So what are these urban heat islands? We will see, and why it is there in news also we will see, right? So this is also part of environment, right? Next, semi-cryogenic engine. So we have discussed cryogenic engines maybe 1 month before when ISRO has launched this. So we will see cryogenic engines, then we will come back to the semi-cryogenic engines as well. What is the difference? What actually is cryogenics? We will have a detailed discussion on this as well, right? So this is part of science and technology. Next one, Foreign Exchange Regulation Management Act. So this is part of economy. This is part of economy, right? Next, Talasemia. So again, science and technology, one more article we have from science and technology. Then Jigyasa program. So this is also partially part of science and technology as well as India's governance, right? Then non-market economy status. So this is part of economy. So we will have a little bit at least 1 hour session today because we have a good amount of lengthy articles. So after that we will also see some factual pointers and some practice questions as well, right? I hope my voice is clear with proper video. If you have any issue, please do let us know so that accordingly we will correct. Yeah, very good evening, Srinath, Santosh and Malini. Let's start the session with the first article, that is solar power rankings around the world. So there was a report released by the international organization or international private body called Ember. So it is a private company like thing. So it has released a report titled International Energy Analyticals Agency report. So this report also may be asked in the exam, who has released this? So this was released by Ember, right? Now there are certain statistics which are important for us from this report. So I will be stressing them, you have to remember them, right? So that's how the questions are from. We will see at the end also those important, like how the questions are framed. Now let's see the provisions of the report, what the report has said about specifically related to the India. Of course, the reports are very bulky in nature, but whatever the relevant things that are there for us, we will remember, right? So in 2023, so we have completed the year of 2023, India has overtaken the country Japan in terms of producing solar energy. So energy means it is generated from all the sources, like it can be renewable, it can be non-renewable, right? Electricity, right? It can be from coal using fossil fuels, or it can be from some renewable energy where it can be solar, wind or any other sector. So here specifically, India in 2023 holds the rank of 3. So it was 3rd rank in producing solar energy specifically, not overall energy, right? So if I identify the difference, in terms of solar energy, India ranks 3rd and it has crossed Japan. The first 2 are China and USA. So China first, USA second, 3rd India and 4th Japan, right? This is what the report has published. And in the year 2023, the total solar energy produced by India is 113 billion units when compared to 110 billion units. So we have increased our tally, right? So this is also very important fact that the total solar energy that India has produced in 2023 is 113 billion units, right? And in terms of total energy production, in terms of installed power capacity, I mean the total energy, it can be coal, it can be wind, it can be power, it can be hydro, it can be tidal energy. So all the energy together from renewable energies and non-renewable energies, India has 73 gigawatts of energy alone in 2023. This is talking about alone 2023. Overall, all the energy together produces 73 gigawatts. And what is the total solar energy installed capacity of India? Anyone? Santosh, yes, the class will be in this weekend itself. The PPT is ready now. Surely we will be uploading that as soon as possible, right? So we will be discussing all the environmental conventions. Don't worry. So focus on here. So can anyone tell what is the total installed energy capacity of India? The total, right? It is approximately 442 gigawatts. This is the total installed capacity of electricity in India, right? So in 2023 alone, India has produced 73 gigawatts of total energy, and the Japan is at 83 gigawatts. That means in terms of total energy, India did not cross Japan. Only in terms of solar energy, India has crossed. So you have to remember this difference. Fine. So this is the facts, and the leading producer of solar energy, as we have seen, is China. China, after that USA, then India comes in terms of solar energy. And there is one important fact, the China's total production is 584 billion units of solar power alone in 2024, right? Which is higher than all the top other 5 countries together, like 4 countries, United States, Japan, Germany, India. Together, even they did not even touch the China's. So China is having the high amount of energy production in terms of solar energy, right? So this is also one important fact. And globally the renewable sources, like apart from coal, fossil fuels, 30% of electricity, that means if we are producing 100 gigawatts, out of that 30 gigawatts is produced from renewable energy. That means world is still going in the production, the dominant is fossil fuels, right? Non-renewables. We are having climate change issues and all, but still our amount of total electricity renewable is very less, 30% only. So this is an issue. You can remember that this is an issue. We need to keep it more, we need to increase it more. And if you see in 2000, like 24 years back, the total renewables was 19%. That means 19 gigawatts out of 100 are being produced from renewables. But still, even after 24 years, it is just 30%. That means we have increased only 11%. So there is a lot of scope to increase the renewable energy into the global basket, right? So this is, rather than remembering the facts, identify the analytical things. So they may ask you statement based, that global energy is going higher in terms of shifting towards the renewable, something like that they may ask you. This is how you need to analyze the statement. The facts are important, but analyze it, how it is moving, what is the impact, something like that you have to analyze, right? So these are the details about the report, and few more are there we have. As we have seen, China is the major contributor. They are contributing 51%. The total solar energy produced in the world, 51% is coming from China itself. And in terms of wind energy, 60%. So they themselves, only China is contributing to the global, almost more than 50%, and then 60% in global, wind energy is being produced from China. So we have to learn, all the countries have to learn from China, right? Even though it is our enemy country, when the good things are happening, we should replicate. That's the benefit of the whole world, right? So this is about the report details. Yeah, and one more fact, the world 40% electricity is from low carbon sources. So that means 60% is still from high carbon resources. The carbon emissions into the atmosphere is a negative for us, right? So still the world is not on track to achieve the renewables, right? So this is about, the report also says that in the future we are going to shift to the renewables, but it may take some time, right? So these details, facts and analysis of the report details you have to remember, right? So this is about the report. Now coming to the India specific solar energy, as the context has come, we will see the India specific details as well. So Niti Aayog has estimated that our total energy that we are producing electricity is 442 gigawatts, a very, very important fact. They will surely ask you this in the exam, because this was a recent March data given by Niti Aayog. This is our total electricity that has been installed, and out of this, only 18% is of solar energy, right? Only 18% is of solar energy, right? So this fact is also important. Now, we will also see about India's current solar capacity. So this is a general of the 442 gigawatts total energy. We will see the solar specifically, and then other sources of energy also we need to know. So that also we will see here, right? So as we seen 18%, that means the total solar energy specifically out of all the forms like hydro, renewable, non-renewable, coal, that we are having 442. Out of that 73.3 gigawatts is from solar energy, right? So this is also important figure. And out of that 73.31, rooftop solar is 11.0 gigawatts. Rooftop means where the buildings, the solar panels are kept over all the buildings. If you are having a home, you will keep the solar panels here only, right? So that you yourself, your home alone itself is generating solar energy and you are consuming it, right? So other solar type of energy is non-rooftop. That means it is not on the roof, rather it is on a commercial basis on some land and all. So rooftop solar energy we need to increase more. So then only we can shift towards the renewable energy. So it is just 11.08 gigawatts that we are producing from rooftop specifically out of 73, right? And in terms of total solar capacity, Rajasthan is having the rank 1. This is a very, very important. In terms of total solar energy produced by all the states, we are having Rajasthan as the top rank. Rajasthan as the top rank, right? And then followed by Gujarat, second rank, then Karnataka, then Tamil Nadu, and then Telangana. So top 3 you can remember, that will be sufficient. So these are the 3 states which are producing the high amount of solar energy, right? So Gujarat is having second. No need to worry about these numbers unless until you are from Gujarat and Rajasthan. So you can remember these figures, right? Now, when it comes to the rooftop solar energy, the total solar energy installed was more in Rajasthan, but in terms of rooftop, which is important, here Gujarat tops the list, followed by Maharashtra. So Rajasthan is having solar energy, but rooftop solar energy is not there. Fine. That is one more fact. And solar power has a major share in the country's renewable sector. We have renewables of solar, wind, hydro, right? And then we have some nuclear also considered as a renewable, tidal energy. So out of the renewable energies, solar is the dominant one. So that is also important fact, right? So this is the data collected from the website, the government website itself. So this you can see energy generation is divided into renewable, right? Renewable and non-renewable. Non-renewable. So renewable means which can generate continuously. There is no exploitation of resources. So it is like a coal, for example, non-renewable, which we cannot regenerate. But these things like sunlight is all time available, wind is not all time available. So these are taken from natural resources which can continuously replenish. We can regenerate them. But these resources we cannot regenerate them, right? So renewable we can see solar, wind and all, and here non-renewable we have seen coal, gas and all. So this slide is about the non-renewable. This slide is about the non-renewable, and out of this the dominant one is coal. You can see coal alone is contributing 49.1% to our total energy basket. Coal is the most dominant one out of all the energy and also out of non-renewable. Second is of gas. You can see gas is of 6%, right? Natural gas. We are producing electricity as well. And then we have other things like lignite. It is also type of other coal, right? Lignite. And then we have diesel. So this is not very important, but the total figure, total non-renewable sources, we are having 56.8%, right? Out of that, coal is dominant, followed by gas. Now comes the non-fossil. So this is a non-fossil means a renewable energy. So out of that we have hydro. Hydro is contributing 11.2%, and then we have wind, solar, all this together they have given, fine. So you can see here the solar is the most dominant one, 16.1%. You don't need to worry about these figures, but rather you have to know which one is highest. Out of non-fossil, that is renewable, solar energy is the dominant one, 16.1%, followed by hydro, right? So second is about hydro, and then we have wind followed by third as 10.3%. So the total renewable and other things you can remember, of course, right? So the total renewable energy is 43% and non-renewable 56.8%, approximately 100% it was rounded off, right? So these figures are all very important, which is dominant one, which is having renewable highest, non-renewable highest, all these things you have to remember. Any type of questions they can be asked in the exam. Any doubts in this? Any doubts? So this is about the total details about the solar energy. These are the updated ones. We have seen the total energy, and then we have seen non-fossil, that is renewable, and then fossil fuel based energy also we have seen, right? And then the states which are topping. All the statistics are very, very important for our exams. Any doubts in this? Please do let me know if you have any doubts, right? Great. Let's move to the next article, that is urban heat islands. Urban heat islands. So why we have taken this article? This was taken again from the Times of India. So a study was conducted by NIT Tiruchi, National Institute of Technology in Tamil Nadu. NIT Tiruchi has conducted the study about air pollution in the cities, in the urban areas. So it was reported that urban heat islands are being developed because of the air pollution, right? So we will understand this, but let's understand what actually are urban heat islands. So urban heat islands points to two situations. So for example, this is a city, right? This is the whole, let me take as an example of NCR, that is Delhi, right? So this is the border of the total Delhi region, and out of this, certain regions are having more temperatures than other parts of the city. For example, let's say Old Rajendra Nagar in the Delhi, right? ORN. So here we have a temperature of 30 degrees, and other region, for example, you can take any other examples, any regions. So here you can take it as a 35 degrees or 32 degrees. So it means that in these regions the temperatures are higher than the other regions, right? So that's what points to the urban heat island. So it is a situation where within cities there is a difference in temperatures, and when compared to the rural areas, the city is also having higher temperatures. For example, see here the diagram, you will be able to understand. This red line points to the regions where temperatures are higher, and if you see the blue lines here, the temperatures are lower. So within certain city there is a differences in the temperature, right? So this type of situations in which the certain regions are having higher temperatures, those regions are called as urban heat islands, right? So island means usually it points to the geographical territory surrounded by water, but here it does not surrounded by water. You may confuse in the exam. It is nothing but pointing to a small land where there is a higher temperature. So that is the concept of urban heat island. Is this clear? So urban heat island we have discussed. Now what is the reasons for it? Anyone? What is the reasons for urban heat island? Can anyone answer this? This is a very logical thing, right? Isn't it? There is no difficulty in analyzing. What are the reasons? What will be the possible reasons where certain regions are reporting higher temperatures? Anyone? Okay, see, there are certain reasons which are causing. Those are like having higher buildings. See, if you are staying in any apartment or any house between two apartments, for example, your house is this, right? Your house is this, and there are two apartments just side by side. So will you get the what you call the cool air? So the heat will be trapped by these buildings, and this building will face the higher temperature. So the taller buildings that we are producing is causing the heat trap in that region. Similarly, the vehicular in this region which are hot, much higher in temperature, the vehicular regions, and the surfaces does not have plants. So if you see the blue color ones, we have trees here. because trees can capture carbon dioxide and buildings will not capture carbon dioxide, rather they will reflect the heat into the atmosphere. So because of these various reasons, like the type of buildings that we are constructing, lack of plantation, right, and then vehicular movement, excess vehicular movement, industries, these are all causing the heat being trapped in that particular regions and the temperature is increasing. Those are called as urban heat island. So these are the causes that we have discussed, right? Now what is the impact? What is the consequences? Yes, automobile usage, more pollution. Yes, air pollution is also one more thing. If any region is facing, if any region, for example, this is a region, if there is a air pollution, that means the industries has allowed to air and then it was polluted, it was now air is stagnated. So heat cannot be escaped. It will be trapped in the atmosphere itself in that region. So even air pollution can cause the urban heat island. Now what is the consequences? What are the consequences of these urban heat islands? Excess use of energy, because as we are getting hotter day by day, we are using lot of ACs, air coolers, right, and then like refrigerators. So we are using excess energy, right? So energy costs will increase. You need to pay current bill more, right, and then we need to develop new air coolers which can give more coolness, right? Similarly, this energy cost we are using, if you are using higher air coolers, higher time, again it will release some other gases like chlorofluorocarbons, and again it will lead to the global warming, ozone layer depletion and all. So anyway, this is a negative impact. So that's why we need to promote the trees. We need to plant the trees in all the regions. And then heat waves. So heat waves means reporting excess temperature than normal temperature. So that is also happening due to urban heat island. Then poor air and water quality. Yes, it is also consequences. If your heat is trapped, right, if the heat is trapped, the air is also stagnated and it will again lead to the water pollution and air pollution. Similarly, outbreak of disease. So whenever there is a higher temperatures, there is a possibility of dengue, which the mosquitoes require higher temperatures. So there is a possibility of outbreak of diseases as well, right? So these are all the consequences of urban heat island. So we need to promote trees. So what are the solutions? Can someone tell? Beyond the plantations, what solutions can be? What solutions can be found, right, beyond plantation of trees? So beyond plantation of trees, like promoting green buildings where we need the plantation, vertical plantations, right, and then we use eco-friendly material, right. So there is a lot of such technologies where we can deploy and we can address this urban heat island issue. And of course we need to contain the industrial activity and then vehicular movement, right, green vehicles, all those things are solutions. Fine. So that is about the urban heat island. Any doubts? If not, then we will move to the next article, that is semi-cryogenic engine. Any doubts? Please do respond if you have any. Right. So next one, very, very important article. So we will understand this in detail. Semi-cryogenic engines. What are these semi-cryogenic engines? So before that, let's see context and we will go for the what actually is the cryogenics, and then we'll come to the cryogenic engine and semi-cryogenic engine. So ISRO has recently conducted the pre-burner ignition trial for semi-cryogenic engine, which is being developed with the name SCC 200, semi-cryogenic engine 200. So it was partially successful in the initial phase. Of course, the full testing is yet to be done, but yes, pre-burner ignition stage it was successful. Now let's understand what actually are cryogenics, right? What actually are cryogenics? Yes, chimneys, all these things are also solutions, right? Very good. Yes. So what actually are cryogenics? Cryo means the low temperatures, right? The study of material, any material, we have a number of materials like steel, aluminum, iron, whatever the metals. So studying the the material at the low temperatures, even below -150 degrees, is called as cryogenics. So just study of material lesser than low temperatures than minus 150 degrees is considered as a cryogenics, right? And there are certain cryogenic gases which are used as fuel, like liquid helium, liquid oxygen, liquid. There are certain fuels which will perform more at the lower temperatures, right? So those are called as cryogenic gases. Now their boiling point will be at minus 130 degrees or lower. So what actually is a boiling point? Boiling point is a temperature at which the liquid becomes a vapor, right? So usually at what degrees the vapor, some for example, this pen will also be having a boiling point. So it will be around 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60, 70, 80, 100. Usually it is a higher boiling point for most of the material will be higher. But there are certain gases which are certain material or certain fuels like oxygen, liquid hydrogen. These are the fuels which will become vaporized at minus degrees, right? Lower, like minus 130, minus 140, minus 150. So those will perform a thrust. So if you want to send a rocket, it is against the gravity. Gravity is towards downside. So if you want to send the rocket, that means these materials, these gases can be used at minus degrees and they will burn and it will generate the vapor. It will push the rocket towards the sky, right? So that's how we are using this cryogenic material, right? Now what is this cryogenic engine? Let's understand the rocket, how it works. So usually the rockets are launched against the gravity, we have just seen, and it is generated at the 3 stages. So first stage you need engine, because a single engine cannot push for higher heights. This rockets has to travel through much higher kilometers, higher distance. So that's why these are generated in 3 stages. First stage, second stage, third stage. So usually there are 3 stages and some rockets are also having 4 stages and 2 stages as well. But most popularity is 3 stages. So first stage we are using solid fuel, and second stage we are using liquid fuel, and third stage we are using the cryogenic engine. So if you observe this diagram, so here first stage will be there, second stage will be there, it will come out after certain distance, it will come out after other distance, it will come out, and the third stage we are using the cryogenic. We will see what actually is cryogenic engine. And then satellite is here. So after launching, after entering into the orbit, then this satellite is launched, put into the orbit. So at the end this third one will also come out, right? Satellite will go and sit in the orbit and revolve around the earth or whatever the space object is, right? Now in terms of normal engines, we are using solid fuels or some liquid fuels like kerosene, but here we are using the cryogenic gases or cryogenic liquids. We have just seen, right? So here we are using liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Sir, why we are already using liquid engine? We could have kept that same liquid engine in the third stage also. Why we need this cryogenic engines? Because they are more efficient. They can push the satellite or rocket for much longer distance. They are more efficient. They generate more energy for certain less amount of fuel. So for 1 kg of liquid hydrogen, it can push for 100 kilometers, for example. And other kerosene based, they can push only for 50 kilometers, 30 kilometers. That's why we are trying to replace our engines with the cryogenic engines in all the stages. But as of now, there is no such technology. We are using only at the third stage. But yes, in future we are going to use it as a single stage rather than using the 3 stages, right? So here we are using the liquid engine, liquid hydrogen as well as liquid oxygen as a fuel, right, in the cryogenic engine. So those engines which are using these materials which are cryogenic liquids, those engines are called as cryogenic engines, right? So is this clear? The cryogenic engine, is this clear? So if this is clear, now let's see what actually is a semi-cryogenic engine. So the name itself is signifying that it is not completely a cryogenic, but it is a partially cryogenic, right? So sometimes, see, the issue with the cryogenic engine is that it is costlier and it is a complex process. So even something happens, so it is very difficult to manage. That's why we cannot suddenly shift towards the cryogenic engines. So ISRO is developing, not only ISRO, around the world, they are first generating the semi-cryogenics, then we will go for the complete cryogenics. For example, now we are using the petrol based or diesel based vehicles. So we are trying to do it hybrid manner. So it can work in both petroleum as well as electricity. Now, and then in future we will be shifting complete to the electricity. It's the same way semi-cryogenic engines are being developed to replace the other engines, solid and liquid fuel. So what is the difference between this? So this is a combination by using cryogenic fuels and then conventional fuels, like we are using kerosene as some part and then we are using the liquid oxygen or liquid hydrogen as some part. So this is a combination of cryogenic as well as the conventional fuels based engines, right? So this is the thing, and they do not operate at the extremely low temperatures, unlike the cryogenic engines which operate at the very low temperature. So if you are going towards the space, right, understand this, understand what I am discussing here. For example, the rocket is launched from here. As we go up in the atmosphere, do temperature increase or decrease? Can anyone tell me? As we move higher towards the atmosphere from Earth's surface, do temperature increase or decrease? Tell me, this is a very simple thing, right? As we go up towards the surface, our temperatures increase or decrease? Temperatures gets decrease, right? They will go minus. So if you go into the mesosphere and exosphere, completely into the space, so yes, temperatures get decreased. So do you agree that cryogenics cannot be used, cryogenic engines cannot be used at the lower level of atmosphere, because we are having 20 degree, 30 degree temperature. Unless the satellite reaches to the exosphere, the outer space, then only this cryogenic engine will come into the picture, because it needs low temperatures. Minus degrees temperatures are required, right? See, there is a decrease. Actually, some layers are there where stratosphere, we have, for example, this is the Earth's atmosphere surface. If you are standing here, so first we have troposphere where temperature gets decreased as you go high, and then in stratosphere there is again increase in temperature, and in mesosphere again there is a decrease in temperature, and ionosphere again it is increasing. But after that, outer space where we are launching, above that is, which is called as an exosphere, there we have a complete decrease in temperatures. As we go up, it goes into the minus. So cryogenic engines cannot be used at the lower atmosphere levels because the temperatures are higher. They won't work. They require minus 150, minus 160 degree temperature. So that's why now we are generating the semi-cryogenic, which does not require too much of low temperatures. So they can work even at the minus 20, minus 10 degrees, something like that. So that's why we are using it, right? Yes, right, Santosh, yes. So that's why we are trying to generate the semi-cryogenic so that the higher temperatures can be maintained and the engines can work, right? So that's why this is a complex thing, cryogenic engines. We are working with the semi-cryogenic engines. So as part of that, ISRO, SCE 200, they may ask you this name also, semi-cryogenic engine 200 is being developed. So it is a very powerful, which can produce thrust of 2000 kilonewtons. So it can generate the power up to 2000 kilonewtons, which can push the satellite at even the higher temperatures, right? So this is one thing. And also it can increase the payload capacity. For example, if we want to do some research, if we want to launch the satellite, it has certain capacity. After 2000 kg, 3000 kg, the satellite cannot be lifted by the rocket because increased payload. Payload means those instruments which we are keeping in the satellite. So we need more push to push the higher payloads, right? So that's why this semi-cryogenic engine is handy, which can balance both the normal fuels and then cryogenic things can be managed, right? So this is being developed by Liquid Propulsion Systems Center, which is an ISRO organization itself in the Bengaluru. So we are generating this to handle the situation, to balance between cryogenic and the traditional fuels. Any doubts in this? This is a very good article. You need to understand conceptually rather than by hearting it. So you need to understand that we have discussed a lot of things In this single article we have discussed atmosphere, what is cryogenics, what are cryogenic engines, right, what are semi-cryogenic engines, right. So all these things you have to understand, and of course yes, you need to remember the facts as well. Is this clear? Anyone have any doubts? Because a little bit complex thing. Okay, let's move to the next article, that is Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA. So it is like nothing but an act passed by the parliament, right? Great, thanks Amalni for the response. So this was a news because RBI has eased the Foreign Exchange Management Regulation Act rules. We will see what actually this act is, then you will understand the context. RBI has liberalized the rules under FEMA, right? So to enhance the foreign investments into India, right? Foreign investments means whatever the money that are being brought by the foreign companies into India, so that they can start business, they can generate employment, they can produce GDP, and country will also develop. So that's why they have liberalized it. Now let's understand what actually this act is, Foreign Exchange Management Act. So we all know that in 1991 we have taken care LPG reforms, right? Before LPG reforms, LPG means liquidation, privatization and globalization. So we have liberalization, privatization and globalization. So we have given up all the companies that government was holding, was given up to the private, right? So earlier, before 1991, we were doing business within India itself. 90% of business is happening within India. Only few imports are taken whenever we required. But after 1991, we have opened up economy because of the critical situation that we have faced, and with the assistance of IMF and the conditions that we followed, we have opened up our economy, right? Now any business can do, any companies can do and come and invest in India, and they can take profits back to their country, right? But in such situation, we need to regulate the exchange rate. For example, $1 equal to 60 rupees per se. And if we don't regulate them, how to, when to be exchanged, where to be exchanged, if we don't do that, this may go for terrorist activities as well. So Indian terrorists, some terrorists in India-Pakistan border, they can give some dollars and they may get the goods as well. So they may misuse these exchanges if we are not regulating it. This where Indian rupees are going, who are buying, so if we are not able to regulate, so it will be an issue. That's why government has brought FEMA Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act in 1999, right? After LPG reforms, India has brought this. Accordingly, the exchange rate, there is a rules where to conduct, who can exchange, who can give the money, right? Where can be invested, how can be converted from Indian rupees to dollars or dollar to rupees. So everything is regulated under the act, right? So it aims to facilitate the external trade through exchange rate. If ours is liberal, then more companies will come. But if it is too liberal, they may misuse also. So to balance that, there is an act to regulate. And this head office is located in the New Delhi, right? And according to the act provisions has given for RBI, the powers has given to the RBI, it has empowered RBI. Whenever you require certain tweaks, certain changes in the rules, you can do it. So the act also given it some liberalized things to the RBI, like flexibility for RBI to make regulation changes or rules changes whenever it is required. And this FEMA is applicable to all the Indians, whoever is in India and outside of India. Some Indians may be investing in outside and they may also earn property. So this act is not only applicable to people who are residing in India, but all the Indians, including those who are outside of the country, right? So this is about the FEMA Act. Now RBI has liberalized, okay, you can do some easy exchange, there is no strict monitoring, so that they can encourage foreign countries to come India and then they will invest, they can invest, right? So this is about the simple article. Next article, that is Talasemia. It is a type of disease and many times been asked in the exam, so try to understand how it occurs. So what causes, how it causes the thalassemia, then of course the facts is easy to remember for yourself if you revise. Fine. So we have taken this article because yesterday we have celebrated International Talasemia Day. International Talasemia Day. Yesterday we have celebrated on May 8th. And the theme of this year is Empowering Lives, Embracing Progress, Equitable and Accessible Thalassemia Treatment for All. So a little bit larger theme, but anyway you can remember 2-3 words and accordingly you can, if they given the options, you can recall and you can answer it, right? So this is the theme and this is the day. Now let's understand what actually is a thalassemia. We all know in our body we have a hemoglobin. What is the hemoglobin role? Anyone? Santosh, what is the difference between FERA and FEMA? See, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act is controlled by the Ministry of Home Affairs. So it is a control of the money coming into India, right? So whatever, it is not about companies, but what you call the donations. Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, they are donations given, right? But FEMA is a doing business. So FEMA is related to the business and FERA is related to the donations. Fine. So that is the thin difference. It is taken care by Ministry of Home Affairs and FEMA is taken care by Enforcement Directorate under Ministry of Finance. Yes, right. Very good, Malini and Srinath. So the hemoglobin is a protein. It is nothing but a protein. Protein which can helps in carrying oxygen to the different parts of the human body, right? So here thalassemia is a situation where abnormal generation of hemoglobin. So for everybody, you can take yourself, you can eat only for example 250 grams of rice and beyond that you cannot take. If it is pushed, then you will be diseased, you will not be feeling well. So hemoglobin, the same hemoglobin we require in certain amount, but if it is abnormal generation, it can be high, it can be lower, then there is a improper supply of oxygen. There is an incapability for hemoglobin to conduct the free flow of oxygen. So that situation is called as thalassemia, right? So it is a genetic disorder. It is not related to any like vector borne or something like that. It is a genetics because of our defects in our DNA. So yesterday only I think we have discussed some DNA. So if there is any DNA issues, then it may cause the thalassemia. So if we are using CRISPR-Cas9, yesterday we have seen CRISPR-Cas9 technology. So such technologies can alter this DNA and they can reduce such type of disease. So the new inventions are coming on, right? So this is an abnormal generation of hemoglobin, fine. And this is a genetic disorder of course, and it has wider effect. It can lead to heart disease and many other diseases as well. So it can even cause the death as well, right? So this is the situation of thalassemia patients who are facing thalassemia. So you can see the symptoms: bone deformities, so our bones gets deformed, and then fatigue, so tiredness, growth failure, so we cannot able to grow properly, yellow skin, shortness of breath, swollen spleen. So all these things are symptoms. And what is the treatment? So there is no treatment or proper treatment. We need to keep transfusing the blood. The blood has to be frequently exchanged or transfused, taken out the blood and then new blood has to be given. So this is a very complex thing. So we need to shift towards the CRISPR-Cas9 where they can edit the genes. The technology has to be generated, right? Bone marrow transplant. So these are all there. Foliate supplements, that is tablets, are also there for to relax it. It is not a complete cure, but yes, we need to keep on treat. There is a treatment, but there is no cure, right? And then so it can lead to death also, as we have seen. It can lead to death sometimes, and then heart failure. So all these things are the causes, right? So that is about the thalassemia. Yeah, so any doubts in this thalassemia? Let's move to the next article if you don't have any doubts. The Jigyasa program, very small article, there is not too much, you will understand easily. So recently, this was taken from Press Information Bureau. Even thalassemia was taken from Press Information Bureau. They have celebrated International Thalassemia Day. So here, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, an autonomous body, we have CSIR, you might be aware, there is a lot of recruitments and all also happens. So CSIR has celebrated the Jigyasa program with the students and scientists, right? So that's why we have taken this article. You can see the interaction. Here, what is Jigyasa program? It was developed, it was launched by CSIR, this is also important fact, with the support of Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangatans, KVS. So this is a schools, a body of schools which are having. So it was launched by CSIR with the support of Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangatans. And for what? You all know, you might be aware, you can think yourself as well. We have learned theoretical knowledge in our schools or colleges. We have by-hearted or we have learned theoretical knowledge, but we don't know practically. If you are asked with application of some theory that you have learned, it is very difficult. So that is the backlog in our country, that we were not able to generate the education which gives the practical application. So that's why this Jigyasa program aims to make interact between the scientists and the students from school, college and all. So they will interact, and this theoretical knowledge will be explained in a practical manner. So the students will learn the practical application of their theory, that what they are learning, right? So that is the aim of the program. Very small objective, to promote the practical application of theory knowledge among the students through promoting interaction between the scientists and the students, right? So that is the objective of the program. Now let's also know about Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. This has been also asked many times in the exam. So it is a basically research and development organization covering number of fields, not about just physics, chemistry, drugs, geophysics, oceanography. All the subjects, scientific subjects, are being promoted through research and development with the help of CSIR, right? So this is the objective, and it is being funded by Ministry of Science. So it is under the Ministry of Science and registered under the Societies Registration Act 1860. So this is not a statutory body, rather it is a society. It is like a society. And this was chaired by Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the president of this body, right? And then Vice President is Ministry of Science and Technology, because it is under Ministry of Science and Technology. So these facts are also need to be remembered. Right. So that is about the Jigyasa program and then CSIR body, right? The next article, I hope there is no doubt, because it is a factual in nature. There is no concept as such. Next article, last article for today. Before that we will see some, after that we will see some factual pointers and practice questions. So non-market economy status. Non-market economy status. And the context is, there was an article in the Indian Express, it was taken from Indian Express. So Vietnam demands the non-market economy status from USA. So Vietnam country in the Southeast Asia, right, is demanding the non-market economy status from USA. So this is the context. We will see, you will understand the context once you understand the non-market economy status, right? So there are generally two, or usually categorized into two types of economy, where there is a huge role for government. So non-market economy, non-market, that means the exchange of goods and services are not based on the free, voluntary, right? It is based on the government regulation. Government will say how much goods has to be produced, how much goods has to send to other countries, how much goods should we take, what prices should be put on each product. So everything is decided by the government. And in case of market economy, government role is completely diminished. The private, it is voluntary. Whoever want to earn profit, whatever the amount you want to send it to other countries, whatever the amount of goods you want to take, whatever amount of goods you produce, everything is based on the voluntary. So the people will have the say. There is a less amount of role for the government, right? So this is non-market, where government role is completely absent, voluntary production of goods, and non-market is where government role is higher, right? So the government role is higher, and goods and services are produced based on the rules proposed by the government. But in case of market economy, the goods and services are produced voluntarily without any role for the government, right? Now Vietnam was put it in the non-market economy because they are having the communist government. It is not a democracy, rather it is a communist, right? So this Vietnam is under the non-market economy list, and they are asking them to shift to the market economy. And why they are asking? Because USA will put lot of taxes on non-market based economies. For example, this is India, this is Vietnam. If India is sending goods to the USA, the taxes are lower because India is a market economy. And if the same goods is being sent by Vietnam to USA, there will be extra taxes. So they are not liking the non-market base. They want enable the capitalism to grow, right? So that's why Vietnam was asking USA to shift us from non-market to market economy. So this status is given by USA, and based on certain conditions, how freely we can do the business. Wage rates are not decided by the government, rather it is based on the negotiations between the company and the individuals. So all these criteria USA has put, you no need to worry or to remember these things. Just the thing that only if it is a free market, then they will reduce the taxes, and it is given with the market economy status, right? So this anti-dumping, they consider this non-market economies like Vietnam, China and all as a dumping countries. There is let's understand this small difference. Understand the concept. This is China, this is India, right? This is India. So the cost of this pen is 10 rupees in China, 10 rupees in China, and in India they are selling it for 5 rupees only. Why they are doing it? So here China has told these companies that you sell only at 5 rupees in India. Now we are getting this pen in India for 10 rupees. So which products you will buy? Which products you will buy? Will you buy the Chinese goods or Indian goods? You will buy the Chinese goods because they are getting the lesser price. And all the companies which are producing the pens will collapse after few years, and then they will increase this price to 15 rupees. So obviously we don't have choice. Even if it is 15 rupees, we have to buy from China because our companies has collapsed, right? So this is called as a dumping. Dumping. Many times some students have asked about what is anti-dumping duty and countervailing duty. So anti-dumping duty means when the export prices of the goods are lower than the domestic prices, that is called as a dumping. So whatever the tax that is levied to counter these exports or imports from the China, that is called as anti-dumping duty. And countervailing duty is launched on the subsidies. So Chinese government will give subsidies to the companies to produce cheaper goods. So and then these goods again will become the cheaper. So to counter the subsidy, it is called as countervailing. To counter the cheaper goods into this country, that is called as anti-dumping duty. So that's why the Vietnam is asking to remove it from non-market to the shift towards the market economy, so that they can reduce the taxes and then they can promote the exporters in the Vietnam, right? So that's why it is asking. So why Vietnam is asking market economy? Because their prices of goods in the USA will become less and more economy can generate more goods, so that they can send it to the USA and other countries as well, right? Any doubts in this? Any doubts? Is this clear? This is also a little bit conceptual in nature. What is market economy? What is non-market economy? What Vietnam is put in list, right? And why they are demanding market economy. You also need to know what is dumping, anti-dumping duty, and then countervailing, the subsidies related. Any doubts? Great. So that is of today's thing for main articles. Now let's see some factual pointers as well, right? First fact is about Darfur region. Darfur region. They will ask you where this Darfur region is located. Sometimes in news, so where this Darfur region is located. Sometimes something like that they may ask. So there was an article published in the Hindu itself that Darfur region. So here at the Western Sudan. So this is a Sudan country. This is a Sudan country, and this Western Sudan, it is located as a Darfur region, right? So in the Darfur region, people are facing civil wars since a few years, Civil war means within the country there are groups and they are fighting, right? So because of that, people they are eating grass and peanut shell. So groundnut shell, you will just press them and open, you will eat groundnuts, right? You might be aware about it. So the people here are using or eating grass and peanut shells. So such a dire situation they are in, right? So you need to know about the Darfur region where they are located in the western Sudan. Fine. So that is about the fact. Next fact, Border Road Organization, BRO, they are celebrating the 65th Rising Day. It was launched, it was founded in 1960 and they were celebrating the 65th Rising Day. And this Border Road Organization under Ministry of Defense, not under Ministry of Home Affairs or Ministry of Road Transport, it is under Ministry of Defense. And the objective is to construct the roads and buildings for the military personnel, uniformed personnel in the border areas, right? The first project that they were launched was Mission Vartak. Mission Taskar was the first name, but after that they changed to Mission Vartak. So this is a fact. Next one, World Migration Report 2024. The report was released by Organization for Migration. So this report was released by this organization, United Nations organization itself. So this is part of United Nations, right? The report name and who released is very, very important. And India hosts the world's largest number of international migrants from India to other countries, right? So this report says that India is having the highest migrants, 18 millions. That means 1 million is 10 lakhs. So you can multiply, right? So this is a huge amount of migrants. And the most migrants are located in UAE, the highest, and then USA, and then Saudi Arabia. So these three are the countries where Indians are huge in number, right? India also remains highest country in sending remittances. Remittances are the money that are being sent by the Indians who are staying in other countries to the India for their families. So those are called as remittances, and this India is having the highest remittances in all the countries. They are sending approximately all the Indians together USD 111 billion, right? So $111 billion they are sending to the India. So this is a fact to be remembered. Next, India is now a net exporter of medical consumables and disposables. So medicals we have like all the scissors, injections and all. Earlier we were importing a lot rather than manufacturing in India. The manufacturing is less, but what we are taking from other countries is more. But now recently they have become the net exporter of medical equipment. So they may ask you in the exam, recently in which field we have become the net exporter. So it is nothing but medical consumables, right? So this is also important fact. And we were taken a lot of imports from USA, China and Germany mostly. Last fact for today, again one more report, Recipe for Livable Planet, Achieving Net Zero Emissions in the Agri-Food Systems report. So this was released by World Bank. What is net zero? Net zero means what the carbon we are producing into the atmosphere, the same amount should be captured and taken back. So in atmosphere there is no extra added carbon dioxide. So that is called as the net zero. So this report, a little bit lengthier one of course, but just remember that it is of World Bank, right? So that is about today's session. Any doubts? We'll move to the practice questions. Any doubts? Please do respond. So any doubts, please do respond, else we'll move to the solving of the questions. First question, so I am moving ahead. Great. In terms of total solar capacity, which of the following Indian states tops the list? In terms of total solar capacity, which of the following Indian states tops the list? Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh. So we have seen the top rankings in terms of total solar energy. So what is the answer? we have discussed, isn't it? So you have to remember. So yes, Uttar Pradesh can be eliminated and Tamil Nadu can be eliminated. So you might be confused between Gujarat and Rajasthan, and the total solar energy is of Rajasthan, but Gujarat is top for rooftop solar energy. Gujarat is top, but the total solar energy, Rajasthan is the correct answer. So yes, Santosh, Madan, Malini, Srinath, Nagarjuna and Vinila has answered it as correct. So answer is Rajasthan. Next question about thalassemia. Consider the following statements with respect to thalassemia. It is a chronic and genetic blood disorder due to which patient's body cannot make enough hemoglobin, leading to the anemia. So this is the first statement. Second statement, this disease is passed from parents to the children through genes, and people suffering it requires a blood transfusions to survive. So that is the second statement. Third statement, India does not have any thalassemia cases reported till date. So what is the answer for this? A very easy questions if you understand the logic, the elimination method. First statement, yes, it is correct. It is a genetical blood disorder caused due to lack of hemoglobin, and yes, it may also lead to anemia, a type of disease, right? Second one, yes, again blood transfusions are necessary, and this is also correct. Till date, India does not have any cases. No, this is a blind. You can easily eliminate it. We have number of cases. Do you think that any country will be there without any genetic disorder of thalassemia? So this is logically not correct. So answer is A. Malini, Srinath, Oindila, Nagarjuna, Santosh, Vinila, everyone have answered it as correct. Very good. Next one. This is a little bit application based question. Let's see who will answer this. Which of the following is a feature of market economy? Which of the following is a market economy? Government control over country's resources, equal distribution of country's resources among people, absence of government, voluntary exchange of goods and services. So which of the following is a feature of market economy? We have discussed market economy and non-market economy. So what is the answer for third question? So let's eliminate two options first, right? First one, government control over resources. If government controls the resources, it becomes non-market, right? So equal distribution of country's resources. Again, if it is equally distributing, that is also again as the market economy, right? Then absence of government, voluntary exchange of goods and services. You may confuse this. This is not absence of government regulation. They are saying absence of government itself. So government will be there. Of course, in any of the economy, it can be there, right? So this is also eliminated. And yes, voluntary exchange of goods and services. So this is the most appropriate. So that is the market economy. Yes. So Madan, Malini, Nagarjuna, Santosh, Srinath, Indila, Ranjan, everyone have answered it as correct. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding urban heat islands. Urban heat islands. An urban heat island is experienced when certain areas within a city experience higher heat load when compared to the surrounding areas. That is the first statement. It is a local and temporary phenomena. So this is the second statement. Construction of high-rise buildings rather than the two-story buildings helps in reducing the urban heat island. So what is the correct statements and what is the answer? First one, a urban heat island definitions they have given, experience certain areas within city experience high heat. Yes. So first statement should be there. That is the definition of urban heat island. Second one, second statement, it is local and temporary phenomena. Yes, unlike the longer phenomena like having climate change and all, this is a short for some time, right? So second statement is also correct. So you can eliminate. Yes, you got the answer. Third is actually against, right? Because it should be short, it should not be higher, right? So third statement wrong, and hence answer is B. Yes, everyone have answered it as correct. Very good. There is no wrong answer from your side. Next and last question. World Migration Report 2024 is a publication of World Bank, International Organization for Migration, Office of United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, World Economic Forum. So what is the answer for this? World Economic Forum can be eliminated. We did not even have that private thing and related to the migration. World Bank, no. Office of High Commissioner for Refugees, no, this is not the case. So we have discussed IOM is the organization which published it, right? So answer is B. Madan, Vanilla, Santosh, Ranjan have answered it as correct, right? So we have a very good amount of articles, conceptual as well as factual. So you can expect some questions as well in the coming exams. So try to revise them, try to remember them. It will be really helpful. So please do like and share our videos as well as our channel if you like our sessions. So that will encourage us to contribute for more in the coming days, right? So keep subscribing and keep following us, and happy evening, happy studies. Thanks a lot.